I'm Shantae, and today is the Itch FM debate show, and I am joined by
Tony D, Poisonous Poet, Don't Flop Champ, UK Hip Hop all day.
Shay D, representing Lyrically Challenged.
Big Ted, just representing hip hop.
Mystro, aka MysDiggi, Natural Born Spitters.
Reveal, the Gully Irani, Poisonous Poets, West London.
Tony Black, Roadsound Music.
Now we've got all the intros out the way. The big question is UK hip hop dead?
No. Yeah, right. No, it ain't dead. It ain't dead. It's live and kicking. As you can see, with Itch FM coming back, with a whole bunch of like new artists coming out. I'm sure Ted knows about, being a DJ. I don't think it's dead, but I think there might be people who think it is because we might not be in that golden era again, like what a lot of people think. But it's definitely not dead, and I think there's a lot more to come and to happen as long as everyone kind of keeps the right head on their shoulders.
So if it's not dead, why do people question it?
I think even just the term UK hip hop, that in itself, it explains a bit of it, because I think a lot of like the new school stuff, there's this whole thing about where does grime fit into everything. A lot of the new stuff, they're calling it UK rap. Yeah. Because I think UK hip hop, it slightly has that connotation of, I don't want to be like bad about it, but it's kind of like the sort of depressing music or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It comes with certain connotations. So, for me, the really interesting thing, it kind of goes back to what is UK hip hop, because for me, it's not even something that was just exported from America. Because if you go right back to like the original stages when everything was starting, we had the breeding ground for hip hop the same way that America did. So even when Kool Herc went to America from Jamaica, some of the people that he was listening to, like I think they was called I-Roy or E-Roy, some of the sound systems, they was the contemporaries. We had first generation sound systems that came over from Jamaica to South London. And in the UK, we had stuff like the poll tax riots, we had like Thatcher's Britain, we had punk music. So Malcolm McLaren's girlfriend was Vivienne Westwood, and she designed some of the outfits that Africa Bambaataa and them were wearing. So there's this whole sort of back and forth thing. And then in the UK, we kind of developed the whole from sound system culture, drum and bass, jungle, which kind of became garage, which became grime. So we got kind of these sort of diverging lines of like different things. For me, it all comes under the umbrella of spitting, lyricism, UK hip hop, UK rap, whatever you want to call it. But I think we kind of got into sort of labeling stuff a bit too much lately. So that's why maybe some people think what they term UK hip hop is dead.
Personally, I always take offense when people say UK hip hop. Like for me, there are just standards in hip hop. You're either good or you're whack, and those are internationally recognized standards. Like Usain Bolt doesn't do Jamaican running, he doesn't run a Jamaican 100 meters. Cutmaster Swift doesn't do UK scratching, you understand? Like standards are standards. So when it comes to hip hop, as I say, either whack or you're good. And I've traveled around the country endless times over the years, and I've seen incredible b-boys, I've seen DJs, I've seen artists, I've seen, all sorts that just represent hip-hop, full stop. So this kind of UK hip-hop thing is like, I don't know what that is. I've never, ever, ever been a fan of calling anything UK hip-hop.
All right, so when you hear hip-hop from France, what do you call it?
It's hip-hop. I might not be able to understand it necessarily, but I can hear it and judge it and know whether it's decent or not. If the beats are tight, if the guys flow, and someone like Solar, you can hear, Supreme NTM or, those kind of artists from when I was kind of, touching a little bit of French hip hop. I could hear what was decent. But
there is a certain vibe as well. I think you're completely right. I agree with this whole thing that there's hip hop and there's levels. Yeah. So I think it's because it's hip hop, it's all about show and prove. So even when it was like I was younger, I was on the battle circuit or whatever, if we was clashing with American people, the mentality was like, bruv, I will just outspit you, innit? Yeah, it's not even about like, what type of thing you're coming with. But then when you get into particulars, even when you talk about hip hop, say in America, say the New York hip hop, it's got a different sound than the West Coast hip hop, which it's got different samples, the Southern hip hop. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with kind of saying we've got this hip hop sound.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think because it's just like, that's why I was getting back to that whole, if I hear Dutch hip hop or hip hop that's made in Deutschland, you know what I mean? I'm going to be like, that's what it is. Like, so I feel like it's just a label so people know where it's from, as opposed to saying is whether it's good or bad. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same with dubstep. I remember being in New Zealand and these guys were schooling me on dubstep. Yeah, like, and they were going, yeah, this guy's from LA. You can hear in the sound, this is LA dubstep, or you can hear this is like where. I was like, right, I didn't even realize, but that's how you can differentiate and tell somebody is by going, yo, this is from here or this is from there. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think that UK hip hop, like the label, might have got that kind of.
It comes with stigma.
Yeah, there is a bit of stigma.
Diversity is a good thing.
When I was raised in hip hop, this is early 80s. So there was no differentiation between, what moves people were doing. So when I was watching Pogo as a B-boy, I was comparing him to what Rocksteady Crew were doing. Not on he's a UK. Well, I just never ever grew up like that. And I think too many people, especially the media, kind of used it as a way to separate everything and box it off and say, okay, these UK rappers, this UK, this, and not putting it on the pedestal so that it was compared properly. It was like in its own little box, and okay, well, yeah, as you said, there's a kind of depressing element to it, and why are the clothes so dirty, and why are those subjects so boring, and why doesn't anybody dance, and why is anybody happy, and all of those kind of connotations, the UK hip-hop, as opposed to it just being hip-hop and letting people just do what they do and set the standards they're going to set and whatever trends. It just kind of always people want to talk about this UK hip-hop, and I'm like, so Ted, what do you think of UK hip-hop? I'm like, Jesus, come on, man. I tell people it's healthy. I go around the country, I see people living it, breathing it, and doing it. So obviously it's in great shape, but people don't want to hear that. They want to hear you say, oh, well, the thing with UK hip-hop is, shut up.
I think Miles touched on something when he said about the dubstep thing, yeah? Because there's certain dubstep rhythms that I've heard that they're just so London. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful thing in music. It's like diversity where like you connect with different like locales and regions and you understand something about the mentality of it. I fully accept that.
Yeah, I feel like it's the intention behind what is said. Like, for example, it's kind of where it stems from. An example is Industry 1. They did a global hip hop documentary, and Denmark has a really big grime scene. And believe it or not, they call it like Dutch grime or like wherever it's from, but we don't really call it UK grime. We call it grime, but that's because it kind of stems and was born here. But because hip hop was it was born in America, so it kind of feels like wherever it stemmed from, they don't put that label in front of it, but when it gets developed somewhere else, we add it because we've taken it on. So it's two intentions. The first one being UK hip hop, because we're stating that that's the sound and that's where it's developed after it's been kind of bred and made somewhere. And at the same time, there's the whole UK hip hop to distinguish that vibe, the whole bobble tracksuit drinking crew that we're talking about.
I slightly think little tiny bit differently, yeah, because I think that there's this whole argument for hip hop was being done in the UK before hip hop was labeled as hip hop, yeah. That's going into a lot more like a bit of an abstract area, yeah. But what I mean when I say that is I think the main differentiation between like when you're talking about French hip hop or the hip hop is the language, yeah. So in England, yeah, we've got the British accent, or in the UK we've got the British accent, which I think was a kind of breakthrough thing. When you start going back and looking at the history of hip hop and like the first MCs in the UK and stuff like that, there was two schools in it. So there was like people that were kind of emulating the b-boy thing that was going on in New York, and they were doing it to a really, really high level. And there was people that were coming out of the sort of DJ and sound system culture, and the accent, I think, was the key thing. And I think that with the UK thing, I'm so weird about, like, I don't even want to call it UK hip hop or UK rap. It's because I'm proud of it. That's why I want to put the label on it. I don't want to put the label on it as a category to be like, it sounds like this. But I think there is an argument to say that hip hop is such a universal thing that it originated in America the same way that jiu-jitsu was taken to Brazil, and the Gracie family switched it up to Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which was different because their body types were different, so they incorporated certain moves that were different. In the UK, we incorporated certain things into the mix where it didn't have that label of hip-hop on it. But to me, it was really funny because there's been debates been raging for ages. And the other day, I remember about a couple months back, Wiley was tweeting something about me and Dizzy always said when we was doing grime that this is the UK's hip hop, this is our version of hip hop. And so that kind of, to me, all these debates about grime versus hip hop, it's just different names for the same thing. Like when they say,
For me, I never really heard I don't like this is our equivalent of that.
Yeah.
Where we're saying it's a global thing, I only hear the term UK hip hop if we're talking about it's a regional thing. But you're saying Dutch hip hop is hip hop from there, and Denmark grime is grime from Denmark. But when you're talking about the music, it's grime or it's hip hop. I don't like it because I feel like it puts us in some sort of a shadow. Like what we do is never compared. It can never be compared to what's done in America.
Yeah, no, I fully hear that, but I mean, when I say it from a proud perspective.
Of course,
yeah?
of course.
I say it not from like, yeah, this is UK hip hop, man, and this is UK hip hop, and like on that kind of a thing. Yeah, I'll say like if I was over in the States, like I've been over to States and been to open mics and that, and everyone was calling me London. Do you know what I mean? Like over there, they was like, hey, yo, London. Do you know what I mean? Because I'll go around with a big cap that says London. I've got West London, my snows, I've got the bling now, E Road.
Got the tat. The tat on the right.
Nah, Muslim, no tats.
So I know you're saying that like you say UK hip hop because you're proud of saying it and yeah, all that. But that's exactly what I mean about saying it's the intention behind how you use it. Like we kind of, I don't want to use the word suffer, but we kind of suffer the same thing as female artists as well. Like we get labeled as female rapper or femcs, and it's like, it's the same exact debate of labeling. And it's like, why can't we just be like, yeah, we run a hip hop event, or we're a rap crew or a rap collective. It's always a female rap collective, or do you know what I mean? But at the same time, we embrace the term because we are proud of it, and we're a minority in a really massive male-dominated scene. Even sitting on this panel, like, I'm a female rapper amongst all you guys. Obviously, Shantae, I've seen you rap on your thing, actually. But, yeah, like, do you know what I mean? So we're a minority, so it makes us proud to use the term. And it's almost the same as initially starting, like, the UK hip-hop scene was much smaller than what was out there and what was happening in America. So it is using it in that proud way. That's why, like, when we're putting on a Women in Hip Hop live event at the Jazz Cafe, we're proud of celebrating women in hip hop. So I think it's not using it in a bad intention if someone does label UK hip hop, as long as you know, you're doing it proudly. And I think those labels are forever going to be there. The only time they'll ever drop, I really don't know if they will. Even like the South Bank, director of the South Bank is a woman, and a lot of people don't know that, but they call her like the biggest female art director. Why? But do you know what I mean? And it's like, or if there's like a Asian football player, or like those labels are always going to be there. And until everybody drops those labels and stops using it, they will always be there. So it's either embracing it and using it with a good intention and following it through with your actions, or no one use the label. And I personally, even though I'd like to think it will, I don't think it's going to go away. So that's what I feel when you say you use UK hip hop proudly. I think it's because of the...
Because I'm proper not one of those people that like I'll go around saying, "Oh, UK hip hop," because I actually think it's a bit like saying that it does create problems, and there's certain connotations that go with it, yeah. But because of what you were saying is that it always goes back to that. Like I tour internationally a lot, yeah, and like when we go to other places and that, I always end up being known as the London rapper. Do you see what I'm saying, yeah? So it's just a thing of, because it's so show and prove, like this hip hop thing, yeah. I'm like, all right, as soon as I get on the mic and spit, all that stuff's gonna go out the window, and all they're gonna remember is the bars. Yeah, so I'm confident in that, yeah. So with me, it's more like a thing of, yeah, it's like claiming it back, but not on an extra thing. Like I don't go around rocking t-shirts that say UK hip hop, UK hip hop. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. No, but you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things.
You're proud
yeah,
of
yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think there's enough good people from back in the day, and I don't think it's good enough just to say, all right, yeah, people done bare stuff back in the day, and that's it. They still got to be good. But I think it all comes down to show and prove, yeah? So I just want to clarify, because I don't want to be like the champion for the term UK hip hop on the panel.
I've got a question for you then. Yeah. So when you say you're proud of UK hip hop, how far does that spread for you?
What, how far back?
No, in terms of
I'm
how broad in the
I'm into
sense that...
spitting.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I I rate Task Force Chester P. I like Lady Leisha. I like Gets. I like Coke Tunes. I like Lunacy. I like T and Mice. I think they're two of the best people in the UK, like spitting wise. For me, it's literally, I like certain tunes. When people create tunes, there's a Wiz Khalifa mixtape I proper like. There's certain Wiz Khalifa tunes I like. Big fan of Rascas, Terminology, bare underground spitters. For me, it's just about the music that gets made. I literally, like, if I showed you what's on my iPhone, it's just just mad different stuff, man. Little youngers in my ends that I work with, they make some good tune. I like that. Dubstep. On a spitting thing, I just listen for good spitting.
What about everybody else? Because in terms of like grime, a lot of those guys that say, well, I don't make UK hip hop. A lot of guys who do this road rap kind of thing, they don't make UK hip hop or grime. Everyone makes, I don't know, wavy, spaced out. I don't know. Everyone's got some next names for
Yeah.
hip hop
Same shit,
from
different
this
toilet.
country
It's
these
the
days.
same
So,
shit, different toilet.
so yeah, one thing that's interesting for me is how far does everybody put that term UK hip hop? Is it? Are we just saying that because we don't have a name for?
When I saw So Solid get a number 1 with 21 seconds, I was like, that's hip hop, because they are, whether they know it or not, they're standing on the shoulders of people who've gone before them, doing what they're doing, because they're rapping. Let's not.
Let me just ask you: when you say that's hip hop, do you mean the music or the attitude?
The attitude and the fact that they're rapping, so they are representing hip hop. And whether that's controversial or not, I don't really. But the thing is, there are people that came from the scene before, that made it to the top of the pops and did their thing. Shout out to the Cookie Crew and whoever else. But like, are you gonna tell me Kano's not hip hop?
I just want to say, this is what I want to
see,
say.
when there was that whole debate about UK garage versus UK hip hop, and people kept coming at me with that, and they had all these corny debates and these things, magazine articles, and like, come on, man, just
I have a lot of respect for you, but I get what you're saying, but I do think there is a difference. But I basically, where I started MCing to garage, I was like MCing with boys in my school, and I started going to open mics and going on pirate stations and stuff. And I was writing poetry. I come from a spoken word and a poetry background as well. I loved hip hop. I loved rapping, but I was very shy. But when it came to garage and MCing, and I know it's not the correct exact term because of MC and what it means and all that, but for me, there's a difference between MCing, because we used to class MCing as to garage and rapping was to hip hop. And that's what I come from, and that's what I'm just talking from a personal background. But for me, So Solid, for real, I get that they're like barring, they're writing lyrics and stuff, but for me, they were MCing, they were garage.
Shay D, come on, that brother can rap.
But do you get?
All right, let's get it over it.
For me, both whether the music that you make is grime or hip hop, the action that you're doing is rapping. For me, rapping's an action. The MC's
it's very stylish.
the MC for me as well. MC might not necessarily be the artist or might not necessarily be the rapper. I think all those kind of terms are all
The MC aspect really for me would have been some of them drum and bass, man, like is it what them names do that again, all them, because they're pure vibes. They're not really so much about lyrics, like you're going and they'll chat for 4 hours and just do vibes and just do energy, and
to say that in hip hop, that's kind of what Chief Keef does. Bare repetitive stuff that doesn't rhyme properly and it's more vibesy, yeah. No, but what I'm saying is it's more like it's varied styles. No, I don't either, yeah. But what I'm saying is it's more about varied styles, and I think like, as when I was a youth, all my brethren in my ends, they all used to MC, and I was the rapper of the clique. And when they used to go and play at nights, they'd be doing their garage sets or whatever. Then they'd be like, yeah, throw on a hip hop tune. We're gonna get my man to come out, and then I'd come out. So there is a proper distinction.
Yeah, but I think it's the definition, because then how many KRS tunes you hear him talking about the real MC, the MC,
you
this
couldn't
and that.
tell KRS that he's not an MC, that he's just a rapper.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd have to run for that.
And the other thing I think that we're forgetting is that rapping is just like an element of hip hop. That's like part. And so if someone's rapping all of a sudden on like classical music, is that classical music what rap music now? Do you know what I mean?
It's
So
like
I think that's where it all gets a bit blurry. But going back to like calling, say, So Solid or Dizzy or whoever hip hop, if they don't call themselves hip hop, I don't think everybody else should. I think what happened was that whoever they were signed to, like the industry needs to take it somewhere and call it something. They couldn't go to America and go, yo, check out this grime stuff. They were like, grime, like put it in the washer, like clean it or something. They had to go, yeah, this is like hip hop from the UK. This is UK hip hop. Do you know what I mean? And that's where, and then all of a sudden it's got blurry. But I don't even think most of them call themselves hip hop. Swiss might be like, yeah, well, I was listening to, Nas or listening to blah, blah, blah. And so from that element, but I don't feel like even they represent. You know, they class themselves as hip hop. So why should everybody else?
It's blurry. Like,
know?
go on.
I'm just look. I'm gonna be real, yeah. Like I'm gonna be really real. I'm gonna be so real right now. Okay, no. See that?
Tell me.
No, do you know what it is? Yeah, like what I think it's really going into a debate and like getting really educational and stuff. Like I know your hip hop knowledge is amazing. Yeah, like like I don't know you that tough, but it seems like very much so it is. No, I don't know. I know it real well. But as in from everything that you've said so far, your hip hop knowledge seems amazing. Yeah. So no, I'm sure everyone on the panel has a lot of info. I'm just kind of talking on just like more from I guess just emotionally and real kind of thing. What I'm trying to say is it's really easy to come on a debate thing or like bring up so much info and stats and education and stuff, and I respect that and I rate it. Yeah, I've got loads of hip hop books in my I run like workshops for young people. I've got loads of hip hop books in my room and but on a reality everyday life level, like I have both sides of the spectrum. I'm an artist and I run a hip hop night. I promote. So I book artists and I have a show on Itch. So I listen to artists. And at the end of the day, real talk, there are loads of segregated genres in UK hip hop in itself, and anyone can be like, oh no, it's under one umbrella, nah, it's all hip hop. But I haven't seen at certain festivals and events, and even when I'm booking certain artists, they've got to kind of fit a criteria, or they have to be able to vibes to the audience and stuff. I haven't seen like Triple Darkness, man, mixed with E&D Daniels, man, mixed with Chester people, mixed with Lyrically Challenged. Like I haven't seen all of that mix. So everyone can be like, no, we're all one, we're all UK hip hop. But if it's not happening on an action everyday level, put your words into action. Certain radio DJs and stuff aren't playing certain man's tunes that I feel like are on a very high caliber. Do you know what I mean? And they're not getting played. So I think it's really easy to say hip hop is all one and we're all under MCs and rappers, but certain grime artists and certain rappers that I know very well and personally, and from booking artists myself, we are the only night that I know of that have put Phoenix, the Icefire, Reveal, Logic, People's Army, working with Josiah, Ian Daniels, Poison, all on the same stage and make them share things like that. So I think it's really easy to say, oh, there's a big umbrella, everyone's under the same thing, but it isn't. It's very segregated. And I think that adds to the whole is hip hop dead. I don't think a lot of people are uniting in it. And I think if we don't put that into action and make it happen on a real level of getting bookings, doing festivals, giving people spins, playing their stuff, that's not going to happen. So we can sit here and debate about everything's under the same umbrella, everything's hip hop, but it's not. Like, be real, like.
Cut the cameras, this is pointless.
I kind of meant like, or just on a pure sort of MC styles thing, yeah, I was thinking specifically of a certain number of tunes, yeah. So I was thinking of like, what was that tune they had? I think it was Kano and Gets, was it called Mic Check? Or something like that, yeah. And then Dizzy had a couple like tunes where he was spitting on a slower tempo hip hop beat. Yeah? I think as an MC or a rapper, like there are varied styles that you employ, yeah. So like when you're hitting a beat in a different tempo that's got a different swing to it, yeah. There's ones where you write more of a rap flow on it. There's more ones where you write more of a double time flow on it. So I was talking about completely from that perspective in the terms of when you notice that people that are serious MCs, yeah, they'll start experimenting. So like when Dizzy went on a slower beat, yeah, eventually that was going to happen. Like when you come out with I Love You and all that stuff, and what was they on, Deja, was that their station, or Rinse or whatever it was? Rinse was there. Yeah. Like those times there was a bit of a change later on when he started doing slower tunes, and the same thing like with Swiss. That's why I said, where would you put Swiss in that category? Because then if you compare something like Cry to Rap This, that was the first time when I heard Swiss, yeah, it's a completely different, it's just varied styles of MCs. However, I completely agree with what you're saying in terms of not everyone else has that distinction. And I think that's more like what they call a media construct, where like they needed to label it, to like market it to different people. And I think it's a youngers thing as well, where like when the youngers, they want something fresh that's appealing to them, yeah. So they don't want to be on that same kind of thing. I fully agree with you. Like when you're talking about there's a lack of unity, but I think a lot of that is down to people carrying themselves funnily, because people should just reach out more. Do you see what I'm saying? So like.
That's what, like, That's what I'm saying. For example, like your don't flop stuff, yeah. So for example, another element of hip hop, like ciphering, rapping, is the battle scene, yeah. And we had jump off and everything, but like you guys are killing it with like don't flop. Like you've got all your battles going on. You got a massive following with it. That's another side of hip hop that I think doesn't get mentioned or promoted that much. And America gasses their battles a lot as well. Don't flop are like.
See my there though.
But but I just kind of like how do you feel like
That is the change them lot
ha,
are talking about.
yeah, how do you feel Don't Flop has changed the hip hop scene? And
Someone said Ian Daniels is ruining Don't Flop or like battle rap. What did they mean by that?
okay, so
I think 'cause it's everywhere, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just seeing everywhere. I don't know what them people are talking about, to be honest with you. I do know everyone's got the clothes, everyone's got the hat. There's a lot of people in the crew. Yeah, so you see them they take up a lot of screen time. The host now, first is the host. He started Ian Daniels. So every time you see him, that's what you're going to see. Some of the battlers part Ian Daniels. So they're going to be up there. It's bound to happen.
There was this whole Don't Flop battle thing, and then in that there was this kind of it was very kind of like underground hip hoppy MCs, lyricists battling and stuff like that. And then T became the Don't Flop champion, yeah. And there was this real weird reaction to people, yeah, because they were kind of like, this road bread's ruining this safe little underground hip hop thing that we got. And a lot of the comments under the battles say some really mad stuff, and it's got to the point where they've got their clique, Ian Daniels, which might represent more of like a kind of a road thing. It's not even like a road thing like that. Yeah.
No.
But do you know what I mean? To those people, the comments and stuff, people are like, these lot are ruining battle rap.
Well, look, they can say these lot are ruining battle rap, but then, you know, you're always going to get different leagues, you're always going to get different styles and whatnot. But I think that the fact that he's the champ and they consider him a road rapper, when he probably looks at rap, you know, UK rap music and see that as road rapper, like, you know, at the end of the day, I think that's going to happen regardless. And now that we're in this age where people can leave their comment behind the keyboard, you know, they can say whatever they want. You're going to get that. But I don't think if it was ruining it, then it Don't Flop wouldn't be around now.
No,
it would be ruined. You know what I mean?
The
So
people making that distinction, I think that in itself is what's interesting. Obviously, they're not ruining battle rap.
Big difference. Do you know what I mean? There seems to be a big difference between UK, what you would call UK hip hop, and Don't Flop. A lot of people in UK hip hop are against Don't Flop, and the Don't Flop. Like a lot of people in Don't Flop, from the audience to the rappers to some of they don't listen to hip hop music. Period. They don't listen to UK America. They don't have it. I was in Leeds, and a guy come up to me and said, "Tony, you're a legend." Oh, cheers, mate. And then Mama said to me, "No, I don't listen to rap though. I'm a death metal fan." So he only knows me from battling. Has no clue that I make music, that I'm in Poisonous Poets, anything to do with that. And that's a big part of their fan base. That's a very big part. Yeah, no, there is still people that come there and represent, because there are still rappers in Don't Flop. You got me, like there's me, Shotty, there's a Verb, Joker Star, there's a very small group of people that make rap music, make UK hip hop, and battle. Other than that, it's a completely different thing. You've got two comedians now. Was it Shuffle T and Marlo? They don't rap, but they battle. And they battle well. I can't knock it. You know what I mean? They battle well, but they don't have anything to do with rap. They don't make hip hop. They do stand-up comedy. You know what I mean? So it's a big switch away from what I would consider rap music and hip hop, and because I don't really pay attention to the labels myself. I make hip hop from the UK. That's basically what I do.
That's a good way to put it.
Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't call myself, this UK hip hop, because when I think of UK hip hop, I know what I think of too. Do you know what I mean?
what do you think of, Tony? What do you think of? Tell us. Come on, man. Let's express ourselves.
I think of a particular period, to be honest, somewhere between about 97 and about 03, 04, and a certain collective of guys and a certain sound. A particular, is that very, it's like grey music. Do you know what I mean? Like that. That's what I think of. Yeah, that's what I think of. Just a bunch of people that never really did much in their life, so they talk about stuff that no one cares about. Like, I don't get it. I don't, but that's what I think of when I think of UK hip hop. That's the label I attach to it myself. But same time, someone's gonna look at me and say, "Well, you're UK hip hop."
You was part of Poisonous Poets.
All right, guys. All right. Very interesting, all of that. But then is it fair to say the question's being asked because people don't know what UK hip hop is?
Yep, you're definitely right about that. I think, for one, there are certain people that might say it because, like I said, there's an era that they saw that sort of disappeared, and now they don't know what's really going on. They like, you know, there'll be people like, oh man, I loved your shit from the Low Life, whatever, like 2004. Yeah, what did you do after, you know, whatever release in 2006? I'm like, right, I was still releasing stuff. Yeah, but just because they, you know, the label isn't there anymore, or, you know, obviously, like everyone knows about the record stores all closing down in West End, and I'm sure that is happening all around the country. So there's less of a hub. There are less places that people can meet up and see what the scene is. You know, apart from the record stores, even nights. There are not as many nights that used to go on sort of in the centre where everybody was sort of going, you know. So that's disappeared. So all these sort of hubs that kind of made it more of something where you know the scene is there, where it's live and living, they're not there anymore. It's all online. And online, that's a massive place. Like the World Wide Web, it really is the World Wide Web. So for you to find out what's going on and where you know, the right places to go is not as easy as it used to be. Because you're getting a whole load of people that used to come. You know, I bump into you, I bump into people from all over the place in a one record shop or in one night or whatever. It doesn't happen like that anymore. So I can understand why there's people from that side of things thinking it's dead. You know, but it obviously isn't, because we're all sitting here and everyone's still, you know, quite busy.
Aware.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
obviously
there's a new
aware
wave,
of us.
man. What's like the sign in the air?
Like before, like the problem is, I think there's been like there's no visual community, even though you're saying there's online. Well, for me, I don't know where I'm going online tonight when I get back to see what's going on for UK hip hop. I can try and go on Grime and Rap Daily, but I'm just gonna see a video I can go and see on Master Hip Hop.
Or what somebody might have paid them
I
to.
really disagree, like, so much. Like, I don't know if it's, I don't know whether it's how much you involve yourself or how much you network with other people or how tired you are from being so busy and like wanting to just have your private time to yourself and stuff. But there is a really thriving UK hip hop scene at the moment, and there is a lot going on, like so much. Like we've got, number one, we've got Itch FM back. So there's a lot of DJs. There's a lot of DJs that play out at nights that are on Itch FM. We got myself and DJ Shorty. We run Lyrically Challenge and we program for other events as well. In the past week, in between rehearsal and studio and workshops and I've been to 4 events and I've seen a lot of people that I see. There's a lot of.
There's Chester P's thing.
Okay, there's Chester P's thing. There's UK Unsigned Hype. There's Lyrically Challenge. There's the Urban Got Talent. There's Ian Daniels nights going on. The next one is April 13th. They're like literally like, yeah. There was all the Hip Hop Isn't Dead. There's like People's Army stuff. There's things from Croydon. Okay, so. No, like, I don't want to sound bait about it, but Facebook is like a massive one. There's a massive home of UK hip hop thing. There's the Itch FM thing. There's Underworld Connect. All of those 3 group pages have bare events going on. I post on them myself. Secondly, I present and I host for UKHH.com. Okay, that's UKHipHop.com from back in the day. Same as Itch. They used to come back. They're what's the word? Renovated. Revamped or whatever. They've basically come back. There's loads of events and stuff going on that. There's Peaches Night, there's Hoochie Noo, there's so many nights and ciphers going on from Croydon all the way up to Finsbury Park. Silver Bullet, I was there the other night with London Zoo and Cobes and all them lot. Like, there's so much going on, but it's how much you are involved, how much you are networking, how much...
Very involved and very networked.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't find out
Just,
stuff till after it's happened.
but just because look, I used to go, look, yeah, I'm like, as an artist and a promoter, there's so much going on, yeah. I used to go Deal Real back in the day as well, yeah. I know you from there, and it's like, literally just because I feel you, I'm so sad the record stores and stuff is shut down, but there was things going on in the New Era store like a month and a half ago or something. Like there's things going on at Jazz Cafe, Brixton Jam. Like you can go, but it's not enough that you log onto a website of a venue and they're going to tell you all their nights going on. You know, so it's how it's.
Like we passed that era.
I only knew about that
You need to be in it.
because no, but
I knew about it because you told me about it.
But I only knew about that because there was an artist that I was working with on it. But the point is, even like doing what I do day to day, I'm not really hearing from too many people who make UK hip hop. And for what I've been doing in terms of Czech Republic, I'm surprised. Mystro, you've been there, and we're like, oh.
Yeah.
Who shall we do on this?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
when it comes to connecting with those people in Czech Republic or in other countries, no one knows what's going on. Like, I don't even know what's going on. There's no, I don't think there's no open discussion or, apart from what you're saying on Facebook, I might have obviously missed that. But how else would I find that? I don't find there's open discussion for all things UK hip hop. If we take like the whole battle rap side of things, I don't even think there'll be too many eyes on it at the moment if that didn't come into play. But I do find it a bit sad that a lot of the people that make up that what looks like a big UK hip hop following doesn't even listen to UK hip hop.
Yeah.
Or you don't even see them out.
No, you don't. I don't see them out. I don't know when they're. I don't know when they're out. And yeah, whether it's something I'm missing, maybe I'm not involved enough anymore. But
What do you find a lot of things that you hear about in?
Like people talk to me. I'm on Twitter. I'm like, I work. This is my full-time job. I'm around at radio and talking to blogs and magazines. But in terms of, it's always about the next big thing that's going on now. If you want to know about what someone wants you to hear about in a month for the next big artist, you can find that. But I really can't find where am I going to go and check some UK hip hop in the next couple of weeks.
A big part of it as well, yeah. I think there's this whole issue about like there was this thing, I can't remember exactly what it was, there was a certain act that the Met Police passed recently to do with club promoters and certain nights. Well, that's part of it as well. So like people like Giggs and Coke are on a kind of a list where like if they try to get booked by promoters, they will literally get a call by the Met Police saying you can't book it. But it's much deeper.
My name and my address and my age and this and that. Then they want to check you out and see what kind of crowd you attract. The whole it's for everything.
It's the whole thing about this thing about they didn't want to attract what they called a certain audience. Yeah, read ethnic. Like, yeah, that's what they're basically saying. So clubs like Whiskey Mist and that, yeah, I've seen letters from people like from those club owners or stuff like that, and it's a certain act that the Met Police passed or something like that. So they don't want to run nights that bring that kind of an audience. So there's a lack of nights as well. I definitely agree that there isn't a centralization, yeah, but I think that's also down to people that follow stuff and people. We're in that consumer era where everyone wants that thing to be delivered on the notification on their app right there. Do you know what I mean? And to be fair, people are doing their thing. Like I know Link Up have their app that gets updated all the time. SBTV, they got their mad schedule. They got stuff going on, like I think 3 videos coming out a day and stuff like that. But it's just being plugged into it, man. I think there is something to be said. You're right. There is a lot going on, but you really got to like go out of your way sometimes to plug into it.
I think what's going out of your way, there's been like.
She's not having it.
No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it at all. Like you play a lot.
I think for you, it's probably easier because you're behind the, you know, like you're saying, you do promotion as well. So you kind of got a better idea of where to find it, as well as like you're saying, people probably holler at you. Whereas with us, it's not. It used to be just you go to the record store and pick up these flyers, but now.
There's flyers and so I'd have to drop off flyers. I have to drop off flyers for our nights. Yeah, I'm not saying I promote other people's nights. I promote our night, yeah? Which, to be honest, I was going to bring up to be an actual issue with the whole is hip-hop dead thing, where I do sometimes feel like the PR and the consumerism mentality we have in underground hip-hop. Now, this is another thing, which is UK hip-hop being underground versus mainstream, yeah? And I feel like the underground scene does have this issue where, I know times are hard, everyone's brass, but there's not a lot of contribution or purchases towards people's stuff. Now, if you're putting something out properly, if you're packaging it, if you're doing your barcodes and your PRS and da-da-da-da, there isn't a massive fan base that purchase so much as they do the mainstream stuff. Like, for example, K Coke with all his merchandise and all his gigs, Joe Black with all his CDs and da-da-da. It's I don't know. But it's different with the underground scene in that sense. I just feel like that consumerism mentality in the fan base ain't there. And a lot of the time it is, I don't want to call it like preaching to the converted, but there's a lot of rappers and MCs in the audience that are supporting each other. So your audience isn't a new following or a new fan base. It's just basically bare other rappers and MCs. But that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying it just tends to be the same crowd in the sense that a lot of...
Yeah, but like you said, it's underground, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why you're calling it underground, and that's it's not gonna appeal to the commercial listener. You know what I mean? The commercial listener is a lot different than the underground. Like, I like lyrics, I like I like deep thought process, whatever. Like, the people that are buying into whoever's up there, they're a whole different bunch of. If they get a chance to listen to certain people, they might be into it.
The
But
promotion is lacking, I feel like.
yeah, big time in UK hip hop. Like yeah, massive. But you're mentioning people that are signed. When you're saying Joe Black and who else? You said K Coke. Yeah, they're all they've been signed. You know.
Type of hip hop, if you will, a certain type, it appeals mostly to the road. That type of rap.
Well, not even
So-
not even just to the road.
Well, yeah, the youngest, but there's no one that you're gonna promote mainstream. Loki, I suppose, was the closest to it, to being someone who had a lot of followers and he was out there, he was on the verge of it. But you know what I mean?
One of the things like Loki always used to sort of say was like, actually no, I can't say it.
All right, one minute. You guys are having way too much fun. We've spoken a little bit about what UK hip hop is, where it is, who's supporting it, and whatnot. Just to wrap up, is it dying? Is it under attack? Is it in the hospital bed? Where is it?
Nah, to me, I think it's in the same place that it's always been. It's on it's not mainstream. Like what I would consider hip hop anyway, it's just underneath the mainstream. It's got its own little side things. You've got a group over here that like this rapper, a group over here that like battle rap, a group over here that do that. But it all stems from rap music. And rap music really just bubbles under the surface. It has done since it first came out. In America, it's it's a global business. No one in Britain is P. Diddy. It don't have that type of impact, that type of following. It just moves along. Now you got people coming through. I'm proud of it. Like my era, I'm old now. I mean, I'm old. My era of hip hop is like, I'm still stuck myself somewhere between about 92 and 02 in just terms of hip hop generally. I don't really listen to new music. I stay there. So for me, I didn't copy mine. I'm sorry. No, I think that hip hop, UK hip hop is it's in a healthy place. There's people that's bringing things through. There are people that are making a living off of it, which is all you can ask for at the end of the day.
So for you, it's alive.
But for real, yeah, it's alive and kicking. I'm not saying I'm part of it. I'm not saying what I listen to is at the forefront of it. But yeah, UK hip hop's alive and well, man. It's still here.
Yeah, I don't think UK hip hop is dead at all. I think it's really thriving. I think there's so much exciting things happening in it. And I really think that all the different rappers and styles and genres, promoters, festival bookers, artists and audience all really need to collaborate and network and communicate and be real and honest and, reach out to each other. And I think once that happens, it's going to be beautiful. And that's the only way the scene is going to rise, as long as we're making everyone else aware of it.
Wow.
Over to you.
Well, something that made me quite happy a while ago. One of the mobile awards recently, and it was all rappers. Like, it was Professor Green, and it was Tiny Temper, and it was what's the other guy, Tinchy Strider, or it was Gigs, or it was just all rappers. And this is an award ceremony that's been going for how many years, and just to see that, and I said, I watched it.
In the rap category.
No, this was just like all the performances were rappers, like from London or from the United Kingdom, and they were winning all the awards and everything. And I'm like, I'm watching it like, wow, this is kind of the dream that man kind of had to be like, we'd have our own award ceremony and we'd be doing the big shows and, and okay, it's not exactly as I wanted it, but it's there in a form that, you know, I don't totally disregard it. I'm just like, these guys are rapping and they're from different ends in London and they're on the stage and you know, it's there. It's just a little bit shinier and a little bit more popper orientated than I would have liked, but
The tracksuits aren't bothering.
but it's there. You understand? Huh? No, I'm just saying, you know, for me, I'm not so much stuck in trying to separate things. Like, for me, the elements that represent hip hop are the ones I embrace, you know, and I just accept it and say, yo, it wasn't my timing when it happened, but it happened for these guys, and I'm happy for it. So hip hop is fine. Stop trying to kill it off. You know what I mean?
It's under attack.
Yeah, I think it's live and kicking. You know, like Ted said, you know, seeing them sort of people up on that platform and doing that is obviously, it's still part of what we do in terms that we rap. So you've got a commercial side of it and you've got an underground side of it. I think the underground side is still sleeping a little bit. Like, you know, Tony said, I can vouch for that. Like, definitely I live off of it. But I think there's still a whole lot more that the scene can do in terms of becoming bigger even if it's underground, even if it is the underground scene. And it's not just everyone jumping on the track with each other, collaborating. It's everyone being a bit more professional in what they're doing and trying to appeal to a larger audience. So it's not, even if it does sound boom bap, underground, whatever people want to say, there's underground rappers that are millionaires, you know, like, so it can happen, man. It can happen, but definitely still alive. Over to you, Reveal.
Thanks, Mice. Yeah, no, I kind of agree with Mice and Ted, what they were saying, man. I kind of feel like this is what people wanted a long time ago, yeah? And like, when I was doing this thing back in the days, I was proper young, so I remember it from that perspective, and I remember sort of this wave that's happening now as well, yeah? So this is what everyone wanted, man, and I'm kind of like, why are certain people bitching about it, yeah? Because they're just a bit bitter that it's not them, just being real. Do you know what I mean, yeah? And me, first and foremost, yeah, I'm a fan of hip-hop, yeah? So I just want to listen to quality music, yeah? And when I hear something that's good and it's in a British accent and it's repping the UK, yeah, that makes me love it even more. But what I would say is that I find that to find those quality gems, you have to sift through a lot of other stuff that's out there, but it's there. So I think it's there, it's alive, it's doing well. There's many people just doing it well, man. Stop it, man. This man.
Musically, no, UK hip hop is still alive. It won't die. You can't kill the music. But as far as the community and support for it, like commercial support and a general understanding of what it is a bit lacking in it. That is on the live support. But we're here, and I don't think any of us would be sitting here if we didn't want to see different. So we can't say it's dead, but yeah, we need to make some changes, definitely.
It might be sleeping a little bit, that's what I mean.
Chloroformed a little.
Hibernating. And I'd just like to know, I'm joking. Going really back, if we go back.
No, but seriously though.
Thank you. Well, it's definitely not dead, but there are some questions around it. It's a great topic, a great discussion. Maybe people just need to get more involved in what's actually happening. If they know more, then they'd be able to make other people aware more, and maybe it might stay live and kicking a little bit longer. But you know, if you guys have got anything to say about it, just write down below, make a comment, leave a suggestion, let us know what you're thinking.